are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
Good evening. I'm Coulter Wonkite. I'm already into the 420, damn it.
You like music, you like weed, well, we gonna be good friends indeed. This is not much I like more than smoking trees. They'll make you dance the do-si-do and teach you how the chiba grows. Smoke a bowl on the 420 radio show. On Lifestyle Radio.
So you do these interviews, these 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. We're on the air now.
How often? Yeah, how often do you do? We're on the air. Are we live?
Uh-huh.
So how often? Okay, well, I'll save that question for another time. But here, I got to tell you a little funny story. So, in talking to Nelson, he said that you guys had asked, "Oh, is he going to be able to talk for 2 hours?" And I said to him, I said, "Come on, Nelson." I said, "If you talk to anybody that knows me, they would laugh and say, only 2 hours?"
Okay. Well, let's get
they
this 2 hours
he
started.
Could go on endlessly. Okay, let's go.
We are chatting with Dennis from Alliance Growers Corp, and I'm going to let Dennis tell us what they do and who they are, and then we're going to have a bull session. So
Great.
take it away, Dennis. Welcome to the 420 Radio Show.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here. So, and you guys seem like a great bunch of folks to be working with. I guess I'm going to start with I'll go the overview of what Alliance does. I'll try not to bore anybody to death and try to just keep the highlights and stuff. So basically, when I took over the company in November 2011, and back then they didn't really have much on the go except for an interest in an LP applicant. And so when I was brought in, I call myself the accidental CEO because I was only supposed to be there temporarily, but I really liked the business, so I stayed. And then I fired everybody. No, I didn't do that. Just a joke. Okay, so anyways, what we get, no, because it's that. Never mind. So there will be one person listening to this who will not be happy. Anyway, so what I determined, I thought, okay, so if I'm in this position, temporary or not, I better understand the business. So I went and I started to look at what was available and what areas we could, to build the business in. And I saw so much low-hanging fruit, I didn't understand what the problem was. But anyway, so what I did is I started to look at everything, and back that time, not 2014, 2015, November 2015, then I noticed that obviously there had been these big growers already. So you'd had the Auroras and the Tweed, which became Canopy, and they were already starting to dominate the market. So I thought, you know what, I don't want to compete with those guys because it's kind of pointless. So what I'd like to do is sell to the growers. And I looked at numerous things to sell. There was zeolite, this and that, and fertilizer and whatnot. But then when I met this Peter Wojcik, who's the CEO of PharmaGreen, who is building the plant that I'm about to tell you about. Not a plant as in plant, but a facility. And what his facility was going to do was sell tissue-cultured plantlets to all the growers. Now, I'm just going to tell everybody what the difference is between tissue culture and cloning, even if you know, because maybe the audience doesn't know. But so cloning, as we all know, like you say you have an Aurora or whoever, they have a mother room, they have all their mother plants with all their strains, and it's just like chopping it up and putting it in little pots, just like everybody does at home. So, but the problem with that is after a while, the strain starts to come off, potency comes down, you start to lose the integrity. So what tissue culture is it's growing these little tissue culture plantlets, or call them starts, whatever you want to call them, in a clean room environment. Like we're talking air showers and masks and, it's total CSI stuff, where it's a clean room environment where they take slices of the mother plant, petri dishes are involved, and what you end up with is genetically perfect, not modified, genetically perfect, disease-free plantlets of your strain by the millions. So now tissue culture is not new. tissue culture has been around for a long time. But the system was, and it's for all sorts of botany, and it was like a 4-stage process. But the reason we're different is because we have Dr. Afreen, and she studied at the university, the Chiba University in Japan, and she's written some papers, and she has her own patents. She's developed a system that's a 3-stage system. Why does that matter? First of all, it's cost. So 3 stages versus 4, lower cost. 3 stages versus 4, faster to production. And now, of course, that's what makes you more money. So that is one of the core things that the company is doing, and that's what we've kind of been selling ourselves on. And the deal we have is we're working with Farmer Green, who is building the plant and everything, and we're buying into 30% of that. And we're also going to be feeding the plant some customers and all the rest of that. I won't get into those details. Don't want to bog it down. So I would like to say that just to give a good overview of what we're doing is the tissue culture plantlets is one. Then there's something called the CBD Dana strain, which I'll explain in a bit. And also we have revenues that are going to be coming from our ACMPR facility that we're building in Quebec. So that's essentially what we do on a high-level scale. Now, I want to make this interesting. So do you want to ask me some questions on what I just said?
Well,
we can make it real interesting.
I had questions for you.
Okay.
But you've already started answering them already in your explanation, because my first question was, are you going to have a room full of mothers, or are you doing tissue culture?
Yeah, that's the thing. And I can tell you a lot of advantage of tissue culture as well. So we're going to have this, okay, I should back up a little bit. We're building this facility. It's going to be in Mission, BC. We got 25 acres of land. The facility is going to, we call it actually the Cannabis Biotech Complex. And why do we do that? Because it's 25 acres of land, which is going to house the tissue culture facility, plus eventually the extraction facility. And in addition to that, 5 acres of greenhouses, which are going to be for nursery services or for our own nursery services for the CBD Dana strain, which I'll explain in a bit. So that is, I call that the crown jewel. Like us owning 30% of that is kind of sets us apart from everybody else, all the other cannabis companies in the country. In fact, we just did road shows in Vancouver, Calgary, Montreal, and Toronto. And none of the investors, brokers, funds, or venture capital companies knew of any company out there doing anything close to us in quality and scale. And so that was actually a really good thing to hear. And it was amazing that everybody sees the advantages, benefits, but they're kind of hesitant to say, well, I don't know if it's good. But we do believe, it's obvious it's going to go. We've actually had the Organic Dutchman contact us. We've actually reached out to a few people and asked them in the space, bigger companies, whose names I can't really say, and they have all expressed interest, but of course they want to see the plant built. So what are we doing? Well, we're raising money on both sides. We're raising money in Alliance Growers to do our 30%, and then Farmer Green is raising their part to do the 70%. So we expected this to be operational in July and to start selling the plantlets by then. So that's probably the biggest part. So actually, I'm going to back up for 1 second and tell you something else. We actually broke the company into 4 pillars. That one is pillar number 1, which is basically services to the growers, and we call it the Cannabis Biotech Complex. The second pillar we have is we make strategic investments in ACMPR applicants. And why do we do that in applicants? Because the applicants, the valuation is low, and so we expect to get the bump after they get their license and so forth. In addition to that, we work out deals with these strategic investments. We get them to buy plantlets from us. So it's kind of an incestual thing going on there. The way I like to see it is well, okay, maybe that sounded bad. But anyway, so we're building the balance sheet while we are feeding the income statement. And yes, I coined that one, so anybody else comes up with that, I'm going to challenge them. No. Anyway, so that's kind of the whole idea. We're going to do other things in that complex. Like there's going to be a genomics lab. plant nursery, greenhouse, the extraction lab. But the big thing for us is it's the tissue culture plantlets. And why do I say that? Because there's going to be a demand for 40 to 50 million, probably more now, of plantlets or starters or clones. So in across the country. And that's just the licensed producers, the Health Canada ones, and their expansion plants. So if we got 10% of that market, you're looking at 10 million 25% of the market, you're looking at 10 million plantlets a year. And that's what the facility is being built for, with expansion plans to do another 10 million. And when you've got selling 10 million plantlets a year at $6 wholesale, which is actually low because apparently it's closer to $8, but we're being conservative, there's 60 million top line, and 30% of that comes to net of all expenses and so forth will come to Alliance. So that's the kind of the deal we've got with Pharma Green, and the tissue culture facility is 70-30 split.
I've got a question. I've got a question from a listener, actually. Okay.
Okay.
What's in the petri dish with the mother plant tissue to aid the plant to be disease resistant?
Okay, well, that's a very good question, which I have no answer for, and I'm sorry for that, but I will actually, make a note of that, because I'm not the technical guy.
Okay.
We have a guy, Peter Wojcik. His parents are doctors. He went to medical school, but he chose to go into the business side. I'm sure he plays doctor in one way or another, but that's a whole other story. But so what we have is we have the expertise, is what I'm trying to say. So besides Peter Wojcik, who's been for 10 years, Peter Wojcik has been working on all sorts of formulations and protocols for different diseases. He stood down his mother's breast cancer. He also helped an elderly gentleman go into remission who had leukemia, and all sorts of things like that. So he's actually been involved in this for a long time. He dials right into the plant and tries to figure it out beyond the normal levels. And then add Dr. Afreen to that program, and she's our resident expert with the tissue culture. And so in answer to that question, I'm not 100% sure what, I guess the main component that makes it disease-free is because it's in a clean room environment. And there's air showers involved, like the guy who does deliveries can't go through this corridor and all the rest of that. So just imagine a clean room environment. Everything is protected, and at every stage it's you're trying to keep out airborne viruses and so forth. So that would probably be the main ingredient that keeps it disease-free.
Plus the fact that your starting material would be completely disease-free.
Yeah, so you would test the plant, and initial mother plant. Yes, exactly. That's right.
Yeah. Which step did she remove in the fourth step?
It's not actually so much that we removed, and thank you for bringing that up, because I have to stop saying that. It's not that it was removed, it was combined.
Okay,
so
that makes more sense.
yeah, so they combined initiation and multiplication in one step. And then then they go to rooting and acclimatization, which is a word that I've been going to therapy for to learn how to say better.
Acclimatization?
Yeah, okay, thank you for that. My therapist, so thank you for helping me out.
No, I did just this. No, I
so
didn't.
So
that's
you just
kind of
opened up hundreds of questions for me, you know that.
I know, can we,
That'll all get eaten.
Can we do another 2 hours in a week or so, and then I'll answer? No, I'm just joking.
I'll tell you what, I'll ask you the questions and you can find out the answers for the next show. How's that?
Sure. Yeah, that's perfect. No, I'll do that. I'm down with that. Okay.
How long of a time frame from cutting the cell to rooting, or to transplanting a rooted?
Well, that's actually a question, an answer that has many moving parts, because the initial one, when you first do it, I think if I remember correctly, and actually that's a very good question that I should know the answer to, I believe it could take as much as 30 to 45 days. But once we've already done it once for that client, it only takes about 6 weeks. Now, but if you did the 4-stage process, it would take as much as 12 weeks. So what you're doing is now we're able to sell more products faster. We don't, we're cutting that time in half. But if the actual very first grow, it takes a little bit longer. But once you're on a roll...
Go ahead, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. What the strains that you're going to be using are strains that you developed yourself, or are you going to, if I as a licensed producer came to you and said, look, I have this strain and I want it tissue cultured, would you take that strain and do it?
Absolutely. In fact, and then we can go beyond that in a couple of different ways. One is we would actually, we have this service of where you could do your, how do you say, for lack of a better word, you could register that strain. So then there's no concern that, we're going to run away with your strain or somebody else is going to get a hold of it.
That was going to be my next question is, are you going to keep proprietary strains proprietary?
Yes,
what about
absolutely.
the recreational market now that has...
Oh, no, everything's open season. We're going to steal all sorts of IP from that. No, I'm joking again. Everybody says...
No, but with the recreational market now that they're allowed 4 plants, are you going to be able to offer those to the recreational market, or will they have to go to a licensed producer?
No. I'm glad you brought that up, because when it's legal, as long as we've got our licenses and so forth in place, we can sell to the individual growers. In fact, now we're not relying on the recreational space at all for for our business model. That doesn't rely on that. However, there are lots of benefits. What are they? Tissue culture plantlets can sell as much as $25 a piece. When you're on a smaller scale. So obviously, we're not going to create 4 of them for some guy, but we can create 100,000 of these of a certain strain, and then they can buy it from us, and they can see what the plant's going to look like and all that stuff. But they'll pay $25 all day long for that. So that's how that's going to. Yeah,
that's why it's a good business model.
No, it's great. Now, even at $6 a plantlet on a wholesale, like millions of shares. And we go beyond just selling, okay, here's your plantlet, good luck, hope it all works out. No, we don't do that. We actually, because if we know the strain, if it's your strain and we've kind of dialed into the plant, like Peter and Dr. Freen will kind of have an idea of what's best for this type of strain or plant, we will actually give them what they call a grower's schedule. So we will actually help them take it to the next level. So not only are they going to start with disease-free, genetically perfect plantlets, but we're going to tell you, we're going to tell the LPs what the suggested protocol is so they can get the maximum out of this plant. And so that goes beyond. So again, back to the business plan was we want to sell to the growers. We don't want to compete with them.
Right.
Okay. And so that's tissue culture, and there's other services in the facility, but I don't want to get into that here on this call because that's kind of a lengthy discussion. So the other thing that we did, which ties into this, is we made the decision to buy into, to make strategic investments in ACMPR applicants because, as I explained, it's the lower valuation, and then it builds the balance sheet, feeds the income statement. How does it feed the income statement? Because we enter into long-term supply contracts for plantlets. So it kind of, goes hand in hand. We actually got a super extra good benefit from one of our investments, and it was in a company called Cannabis, which is private. The parent is New Maple Holdings, but the company Cannabis is the one. They actually are. They have their own application going. They're building out in Ontario, and they have become one of the leaders in actually help consulting for companies to get their licenses. In fact, I believe that I'm trying to remember the name of their CEO now. Their CEO her name is Tamara. I can't remember the last name, but she was one of the ones that was involved in the first 100 applications to Health Canada. She even did the applications for like Canopy and Aurora, things like that. And so they've developed that part of their business. That's I've got a story to tell you about that if we have time, but we'll get back to that. So back to Cannabis. The one thing Cannabis does have is, now, I'm going to ask this as a question. Are you familiar with the company known as MedRelief?
Yes.
And, of course, it was a stupid question because everybody had. Well, why do you think that Aurora bought MedRelief? just as a little aside.
You tell me why.
Well, my answer would be is that I believe that they needed a more efficient way to grow. So they needed their grow tech, their systems, their whatever you want to call it, their grow technology, because they were not putting out a lot of good product, and they know that themselves. I'm not trying to put Aurora down or anything. I'm just saying that they needed to upgrade their the system, the efficiency of the system. So, and how did MedReleaf get that system? Well, if you were to see a 2014 clip, the video, and I believe it's on Cannabis' site, it's that documentary called Vice. So Vice went and they interviewed the grow team, and they said, oh, this is one of the first LPs in Canada, blah, 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 all that stuff. But the grow team was a fellow by the name of Jack Yu. He was the master grower, and he had his team. And so I call him Jack Yu and his crew. I mean, it sounds like a rock band. But anyway, so Jack Yu and his crew, they created a system which was ultra efficient, where they had a whole different way of doing things. Instead of letting the plants grow full, they didn't grow all the way, and there was more under one light, and all sorts of things like that, which I won't get into. But so this was the dream team for growing. So, but they had parted company with MedReleaf at some point, and CanWe picked them up. So that's the point I'm trying to make. So because CanWe is a strategic partner of ours, we have access to that grow team. So that grow team will be the team that will go into our Quebec facilities and design and develop the grow system. So we basically have like 99% probability of having an efficient, high-quality product that's going to be making us a low-cost producer of flower out of that facility. Because we'll be able to start with what? Tissue culture, disease-free, perfect plantlets, and then on top of that, we've got the best growers in the country. So our chances for success are pretty high. So anyway, so the ACMPR so the second pillar of the four pillars was strategic investments in ACMPRs. And so far we've invested with CanWe, and we bought the Biotech facility in it's not actually Montreal, it is Mont-Royal. So that is the pillar number 2. Pillar number 3, and I'll get back to that because I got lots to say if we have time. So pillar number 3 is where we have CBD production and distribution. And that's going to occur on a couple of different levels. One of those is going to be out of the Cannabis Biotech complex, because we're going to have an extraction facility and so forth. And Peter Wojcik, like I was saying, has his own protocols and so forth. So there's a lot of different products that we can develop from there. One of them, by the way, is going to be from something called the CBD Dana strain. Now, I know this is a lot, so I'm going to try to pull it all together. So as far as CBD oil, that's our third revenue stream. So here's the 3 revenue streams that I'm focusing on. 1 is tissue culture plantlets. 2 is the revenue that we're going to make from the Quebec operation. 3 is the revenue that's going to be generated from a very proprietary strain of hemp called the CBD Dana strain. And actually, Dana is the Peter Wojcik's mother's name, that the woman I said that had cancer, breast cancer. And so the big thing about the CBD Dana strain is that it's, even though it's a hemp strain and everybody thinks, well, big deal, what's hemp? But the thing is this, they have been working on their particular strain for about 3 years. They've dialed into the plant, and they've got it to the point where they can get less than 0.3% THC, and you probably know why that's important. And they've got as much as 10 to 15% of CBD.
Coming back,
there aren't any. Sorry? Did somebody say something?
No, it's okay. There's people going past me. Sorry.
Oh, okay, I got you. So anyway, so typically in a hemp strain, there's usually like 1, 2, 3% of CBD in that, and they're using hemp for all sorts of other things. But what Peter Wojcik and his team has done is created a strain that's going to yield you between 10 and 15%. And so 10 to 15% CBD that can be used in treating things like pain and anxiety and all the rest of that, has a medical use, and the fact that it's less than 0.3% THC, that means we can distribute this product all around the world. So we're not limited by any rules whatsoever. Of course, we've got...
As long as CBD isn't on their Controlled Drugs and Substance Act,
right,
which it is in Canada. And that's always been the issue.
Well, no, but CBD, what kind of CBD? Cannabis CBD.
It doesn't matter. It's just listed as CBD. It doesn't matter if it's hemp or not. It's CBD is still CBD on the Controlled Drugs and Substance Act.
Yeah, which everybody... Go ahead.
Everybody's pushed it so much publicly that most cops don't even bother with it, except we had an incident in where I live. A dispensary opened up, went in the paper, and said that the only cannabis products he was selling was CBD products, and he was raided the next day.
See, that's interesting, because if you're less than 0.3%, there's nothing wrong with that. Sorry, less than 0.3% THC.
That's THC. CBD is still one of the listed... See, on the Controlled Drugs and Substance Act, they've listed the cannabinoids, not just cannabis and THC. They've got CBD, CBG, CBN. All the cannabinoids are listed, so that if you extract any certain one, then and try and sell it publicly, you're doing it illegally. Now, there's a lot of stores that sell CBD, but it's stored because people aren't going to get high off of it.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's why. If my understanding is that the Hemp Association or whatever it is, they're lobbying to get some of that changed. Now, I don't know any of the details of that.
They want CBD. They want CBD to be repealed off of the Controlled Drugs and Substance Act
because it's ridiculous.
Right. None of the cannabinoids should be on it to begin with. None of them are a Schedule I drug.
No, I know exactly.
Have you guys done an extraction of this plant, this 10 to 15% THC, and got?
Oh yes.
So what is the percentage in a gram of oil or 1 milliliter of oil?
Well, I mean, it's coming out to as high as 14% CBD, and again, less than 0.3% THC, and it's been tested repeatedly over the last few years. Albeit that's been more like a kind of an formal but informal, if you will. It's not as if, now, but when we get closer to actually starting to deliver on that, then there will be several tests done by several labs, and then documenting that, just to the extreme, so that we can prove that this is the case. And I think a lot of the things that we have to wait for, like you just mentioned, is to make sure that it's legal to sell. So I don't see how that is even possible, because there's so many people selling CBD crystallate. In Canada and
in a lot of stores, a lot of these Big Bear stores that they have in Hamilton and stuff like that, you can walk in and get CBD pens right over the counter, but they're hemp based, and the police aren't really doing anything about CBD.
Well, hold on. Didn't you just say they are doing something about CBD?
No, Marcel did. Marcel did. I'm talking about Hamilton, where I am. He's out east.
Oh, Hamilton. So Hamilton isn't doing it. Yes. So Alex is in Hamilton?
Al is in Hamilton. Yeah, I'm in Hamilton.
Al is in Hamilton.
At a lounge in Hamilton. Yeah, at Gunjanistas. And
okay.
and then Marcel, the other male voice, is in Am. You're going to be able to say
I know. I had trouble with it. I was hoping you'd say it first.
Amcaster.
No, Amherst, Nova Scotia, but actually now I'm sitting in the car in the parking lot at the birthplace of hockey for Canada.
Oh, where is that?
Gresqueville.
Windsor, Nova Scotia.
What's it called? Did you just say Winter, Nova Scotia? Because that's sort of funny, but
Windsor.
I'm
Windsor.
kidding.
No, Windsor.
Oh, what? They have a Windsor?
Windsor.
Out there as well? Windsor, Nova Scotia.
Windsor.
And that's the... Why do you say that's the birthplace? Oh, you were the first Windsor. So why is that the birthplace of hockey?
Because that's where hockey was developed, was here. They developed beating the heads together on ice.
I'm not sure about that, because I was watching a lot of episodes of Murdoch Mysteries. No, I'm kidding. I was going to launch into a whole thing, but I'm not going to. Okay, I'm going to pull it back. Okay, so Now, so what you're saying is in Nova Scotia, where you are, that's where they did this whole CBD thing. They're all over it, and they don't have a lot of leeway. But what you're saying is in Hamilton, Al, that it's a non-issue. It's not that big of a deal. Is that correct?
Oh, no. There's other places in Nova Scotia that are also selling CBD. It's what happened was the dispensary owner decided to go to the papers and say that he was selling only CBD products because they're legal.
So he shot himself in the foot.
He shot himself in the foot, and he ended up paying a fine or something when he went to court. But he was raided and shut down, and all of his CBD stock was taken. And
there's a store up in Hanover, Ontario, where I just moved from up north, to about 3.5 hours north of Toronto, and they are a CBD only store, and they've opened, I believe they're up to 3 stores now. I know one in Hanover. I think there's one in Port Elgin. And I've been in, and they sell CBD oil, CBD pens, CBD this, CBD that, rubs, isolate, distillate, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Well, see, that's the thing. What I was trying to get to is crystallate, which I'll get to in a second. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go right ahead. I was done.
Okay. So all I wanted to say was it's kind of interesting to me that this is still at that stage with CBD because, like you said, everybody is selling it. Everybody's selling it in one form or another. What I was about to explain is out of the 3 revenue streams that we have coming down the pike, one of them, of course, it's the tissue culture, and then there's the revenue from the ACMPR facility in Quebec, and that's pretty obvious. Everybody can do the math on that. You're selling flower. But the third one is the CBD Dana strain, which is, of course, what launched this whole discussion. But the economics of that are quite remarkable. And what's interesting is the fact that we've got people that are actually looking to buy CBD crystallate. And you know what CBD crystallate is, correct? Like, obviously you do. You've been doing this for a while. So what we're doing with the CBD Dana strain is on our best say example or our best the best revenue model that is manageable, doable, etc. is this. We start with 200,000 disease-free, genetically perfect, female only, very important, female only, you probably know why, plantlets. And we take those plantlets and we grow them a little bit in the greenhouses, but then we've got some hemp farmers we're going to make some deals with. And then we can put those plants in a 20-acre open field. We don't need 2,000 acres because we're female only. What happens with typical hemp farming is there's seeds. So they seed the soil. They need 200 or 2,000 acres, whatever it is. And, they're just crossing their fingers that there's not going to be too many males to screw things up because the males pollinate the females, and then they go to seed, and then after that, they're just good for omega-3s and 6s. But what we want to do is we start out with the female only, and therefore we only need 20 acres because we're no men allowed, no males allowed. The girls usually get a kick out of that. Anyway, so you start with 200,000 plantlets, female only. You get from that 100,000 kgs of flower or biomass. And then from there, you will get, if you extract it, which is not cheap, that's a very expensive process, and it takes a while, and you have to get it done by either multiple facilities or a big one because it's not going to last forever, the biomass. So it depends when your cutting schedule, whatever. 3,000 kgs of CBD crystallate is going for $10,000 a kg, like at wholesale. So there you go. You've got $30 million in gross revenue right there. So that's one of the 3 revenue models that we have, and it's a proprietary strain. And the reason our product will be much more sought after than others because the CBD content's going to be higher. All that stuff. So I'm trying not to bore everybody. I'm trying to make some interesting stories here. So that $30 million, now if you got somebody to extract it, it might cost you as much as $15 million. So your $30 million turns into $15 million, but that's still pretty good for, especially your starting out with these 200,000 plantlets, which would be a $200,000 cost at the outside, and we're doing that kind of, it's in-house. And there's quality control all the way through. You know what you start with, you know what's in the middle. The other alternative is to sell the biomass, because the biomass sells for $200 a pound. Don't ask me why they got kgs over here and pounds over there, but that's kind of the metric that I've been given is $200 a pound. $200. So,
dry
so if you
pound
did
or wet? Is that biomass dry or wet?
That's a good question. Got to break that one down.
Write that one down.
I would assume it's not wet. I would assume that. Biomass. Yes. So those are basically the three components of our business model. So now that being said, that's fine, and so out of that's going to come a lot of questions, because people are going to want to know, okay, well, fine, so you're going to do all that, but when? And do you have money and all those sorts of things? So do you guys have any other questions for any of that? Or shall I launch into some other things?
I have lots of other questions, but they should be asked in private.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say,
go.
Marcel would be here for 3 hours talking to you.
Well, okay.
Maybe longer.
So, Marcel, we'll have a private...
Yeah, I don't
We'll have a
3
private
hours
call
to do
later.
this.
Okay, so let's go to... Okay, go ahead, sorry.
No, I was going to say I do a lot of processing and formulating.
Oh, do you? Like with CBD oil and stuff? Like, or what do you do?
Whole plant extracts. Well, we have a patent. So
great.
We're now playing with our patent.
Okay, and so is it...
You and I are going to have very long conversations.
Yes. Well, you know what? We're looking always to JV with people on different things, because not everybody can do everything well. I was going to get into, and I don't know if you want to have a break now or later, whatever, because I'm fine. I don't really need a break, but I wanted to get into some discussion about why.
You guys keep going, and I'm going to sit here and eat this cookie.
Okay. Oh, now he's in the cookie. That's nice. Hey, that's never mind. Okay, so here's the thing. So our three. I'm just repeating things just for the audience, just in case somebody took a pee break and they need to come back. And okay. So anyway, out of the three revenue centers, if you will, the main one is going to be, we got 30% of the tissue culture, 30% of the CBD Dana, and then 100% of Quebec. Now, in Quebec, what we've done recently is, because where we are, it's a very unique little community, and the operating costs and whatnot are much lower there. It's just outside of Montreal, and it's called Mont-Royal. And in Mont-Royal, the interesting thing was they 4 years ago, they opened it up for cannabis growers to come in and grow. But there was only one facility, which is the first one we had, phase one, which was a 10,000 square foot building. But then the building next door came available. So what we did is we secured that right before they changed the law. So in Mont-Royal now, they have a moratorium on any other cannabis companies in the area, like in their municipality. So that's why we made the decision to grab it right away. And so we worked out a deal so we don't actually have to make lease payments till, I believe it's February. So we're not wasting a lot of money just having an empty piece of property. The other property, the first property that we have, the 10,000 square foot property, we did our demolition, ceremony, if you will, where there's me slamming the walls with a sledgehammer, because it's not an empty building. It was a building that had refrigeration units in there. So, and the advantage of this particular building is because now there's a lot of that these insulated walls that we do not have to put in because they're already there. And so what we do need to do is demolish a lot of the other areas that we don't really need for whatever their original purposes are, and open them up as grow rooms. So we've got multiple grow rooms, multiple space multiple rooms to do multiple things. And by taking the second, if you look on the website, you'll see this, by taking that second property next door, basically, what that gave us was that property next door is 17,000 square feet, 2,000 square feet of that is already administration and office space. That needs to be upgraded, of course. But so that means now that our original plans for phase one no longer needs to have administrative space. So now we just opened up more grow space. Now, also, once we start producing plantlets out of the facility in BC, then they can the mother room can also go to more growing. And that's another big advantage for the LPs that we sell to, is they can ditch the mother room or at least reduce it. So that's the Quebec story. Now, that's just the Quebec facilities, and the expected revenue from that facility on a conservative basis is going to be, I would say, it's going to be about $10 million a year. That's based on $5 a gram, though, so that's obviously a moving target these days. So that's what Quebec's going to do for us. Eventually, the first year is going to be half that, and the next year is going to be more. The other thing is, what I want to ask you guys is, can you tell me why you think Quebec, the province of Quebec, would be a big deal, and why would somebody want to set up an ACMPR in Quebec? Why that particular province? What are the advantages? Anybody?
No, Marcel will take that one.
I'm still trying to think of a single advantage I could see to move into Quebec.
Okay, first of all, it's the language. Okay, I take that back. I don't know much French. I got a good French joke for you, but anyway, we'll get back to that. So, we're going to need another show. You know that, right? Okay, so because
it's a good location. Strategically, it's a good location, especially if it opens up in the U.S. market.
Yes, because and we just happen to be really close to the airport. I don't think that really matters, but yeah, no, that's actually a good one too. That's true. I didn't bring that up, but okay. But here's the thing: is because Quebec has made it known publicly in writing to Health Canada that they expect to get 20% of the licenses. So it's kind of simple math, and assuming that we are going to deliver the quality and whatever to actually qualify for a license, then we would be included in that. And there's not very many licenses been issued. If you look, 20% of the total licenses in Canada, that's a lot of licenses. So I'm trying to say is usually what Quebec wants, Quebec gets. So they are going to, say, oh, come on, you got to put these through. And not that they're going to cut corners or anything like that. They're going to say, hey, come on, chop, chop. We expect our piece. Right? They want their 20%, which is cool. And they have every right to that. The other piece is that Quebec has also announced at some point, mind you, now there's been a change in the government, so I'm not sure if the sentiment's the same. I'm expecting it is that they will buy everything from the licensed producers in the province for their own use for medical purposes within the province. So we've got two compelling reasons why we have a very, very high chance of success in getting our application. Actually, a third piece to us having success in getting our license is actually there's four things. The third one is the team that we're working with, the same team we're working with, and the same construction management company, ICOR, et cetera, and all the other outlying service providers. Most of those people have been involved in 6 of the 8 licenses that are already approved. So we've got that working for us. The fourth component I would have to say is because we will be, not only do we have the quality of the facility, et cetera, but we are going to have a quality grow team. So our chances of success in Quebec are 99.9 as far as I'm concerned.
Right on.
Okay, so now that's Quebec.
I just can't get past Quebec saying
I'm
that they want
sitting
20% of the licenses.
I don't get why Quebec.
Because you've got to convince 20% of the licensed producers to want to set up in Quebec.
Well, no, but this is what I mean. If they just because they want 20%, maybe they don't get it. But that means is with the applications that are in the queue, like Health Canada better pay attention to them is the message I think that they're sending.
Yeah.
it's like, hey, don't be putting us at the bottom of the list. Like, you got to just, and of course, they don't expect any special treatment or cutting corners or anything, but it's just like, hey, don't forget we're here.
I think you're going to see Health Canada putting through a lot more of the licensed producers, as well as the micro licenses now that they're already starting to recognize shortages in the recreational market.
Well, see, this is the thing. I'm curious about that. If that's, yeah, okay, that's a whole other discussion. I'm not even going to go there. So actually, I'm glad you brought up recreational. So Alliance Growers, we started off being a medical cannabis company, and we're starting to branch out a little bit. So I'm going to get into some of the stuff we're doing a little bit more globally as well. So we're not, because we don't push any of that yet right now, because I want to make sure, and you have to get investors, give them comfort that you're not spreading yourself out too thin, and you can actually finish what you're doing. So globally, I'll get into that in a minute. But as far as recreation goes, we kind of toyed with the idea a little bit, and we thought, okay, well, if we're going to have products, why don't we put products down our own retail distribution channel? So we thought about, what's it take to get stores and that. But as you can see now, and that's why, if you recall, we were doing a deal with Spider Vapes. Anyway, that didn't work out, and for lots of different reasons. But when we started to look at the recreational, it's only the big players that seem to be that they're going to dominate that. They're going to dominate it online and on the ground. And you're seeing that and you tell me if you see something different, but you're seeing that in Alberta especially. And in BC, that's a whole other story. Part of that's still waiting to see what happens. But in Alberta, you've got, I think it's Aurora that is teaming up with one of the private liquor stores, because Alberta is different. They allow the liquor stores and the cannabis together. And so you can see that the big players are doing two things. One, they're the ones that are feeding the feedstock or the original product to the provinces to be going through the distribution channels. And then they're the ones that are setting up a bunch of the retail. And you've got Aurora, and I believe Canopy as well, making deals with Shopify, so they've got their online platform. Boom, boom. It's set up. There's no waiting. Do you know of anything? What's your opinion on recreational in Canada as far as who's picking it all up? Who are going to be the winners in that one?
The black market.
No, yeah, you know what? Actually,
they're going to be the winners in all of this.
Yes. Why? Because the government makes the classic mistake. You know, I mean, they'll figure it out maybe over time, but they've just added another layer. So, because what we started to think, we said, okay, so we've got some product we want to sell into BC. So you mean we now have to sell to BC liquor control, and then they're gonna, then they've got their markup before it goes to the. So our own stores, we're getting jacked on our own product. So that could cause a problem. So that's why we've chosen not to do anything big with the recreational market except sell to that market. So that's what we want to do, is sell to that market. And even on the medical side, and that model is also changing, because it was this kind of loose dispensary model for a while. But it is my understanding from people I've talked to, plus we have a compounding pharmacist on the board, is that they seem to be leaning towards more of a clinic/pharmacy model as we have now. And I can actually speak to that in a couple different ways, because there was actually I can't mention his name or anything, but he made a very good point, is a lot of these clinics that were out there that were doing different, like say a pain clinic, for example, would be doing what? People would come and they would get diagnosed and they'd have this pain and this would be the solution, all that stuff. So they're writing scripts, but those scripts are walking out the door. So, and they're getting whatever it is, the healthcare system is paying, like, they only pay so much per visit and this and that. So here you've got a pain clinic where the doctors are doing a great job doing their thing, and they're making recommendations, but the scripts are walking out the door. So the idea would be, don't let those scripts walk out. So when somebody goes into a clinic, they can be diagnosed for XYZ, and then right next door is the pharmacy. So then they can go there and they can get that script filled right away. So now that organization is benefiting from that. Now they add another layer is that they say it's available online. So just like it is now, just like my son and his wife has a serious medical condition, and they actually buy from Aurora, by the way, which is something I'm going to have to talk to them about. I'm joking. Anyway, so that's the thing is you want to capture that client, give them their first script, and then get them to buy online after that if they don't want to come down to the pharmacy. And so that's where we think that the medical side is going. And so, and we're gonna be prepared. We're continuing to monitor that, and we're going to be prepared to sell into that space and to be able to benefit from that. Now, I had asked another question, and actually, you guys are supposed to be asking me questions, aren't you? Okay, I'm going to go back into my...
The conversation, in all honesty, is way over my head, and I'm just listening.
I'm ready to the conversation. It's my level.
One of the things I've done here, Dennis, is I've got a really great crew. Marcel is all about the geeky scientific shit, and he's for the patients. He is a patient. And Mary Jane likes to feel important and talk to people and have a good time.
She's the social butterfly.
She's just out there for us all the time, right? And me, I'd like
That's
to.
It's all about getting.
I'm the techie, man. I'm just behind the computer doing all the shit. I'm actually helping at the lounge here while you guys are yapping. So you guys keep going.
Oh, you're waiting tables? That's awesome.
No, I'm held there. They
you're
have
diversified.
They have a what's called a puff and paint tonight, where people come in, and there's a whole bunch of people about to come in and start painting and stuff. And I've just been helping, here and there.
Oh, you know what? I had that wrong. I thought you said puff and bake, and then I thought, okay, this is interesting.
Puff and paint. Yeah.
Okay.
It starts at 9 o'clock.
Okay, so paint a picture of a joint.
Smoke, smoke a big joint, and then see what comes out.
Paint a picture of it.
That's actually that's pretty interesting.
Now somebody just handed me a cross joint.
I knew Marcel was going to talk about this. I knew it.
You knew this was
coming. Go ahead.
Mary Jane knew this was coming, but we did puff and paint this year at Harvest Fest. And Mary Jane participated in the painting, and everybody was painting a cow except Mary Jane painted a giant vagina. A vagina.
Okay, Mary Jane, that was unexpected, but I guess I would need to know you better to see what would be expected, and obviously...
Well, I did not see that. I must say that was Marcel's,
interpretation?
My painting.
Oh, yeah. Marcel. It wasn't even a vagina.
Well, I mean, I was quite a ways away, and I picked it out.
Well, what was it? What was it?
Yeah, what was it? Tell us what it was.
Abstract, guys. Like, geez.
Abstract. Yes. Oh, that is... Okay. We're going to let you get away with that one.
If you go on Facebook, the Maritimers Unite for Medical Marijuana group or their Harvest Fest group, look at Harvest Fest pictures, and you'll see the picture of all these wonderful cows and
a vagina.
What looked like a vagina, yes.
Well, okay. Well, you know what? If somebody could send me the link, I might have a look at that.
Thanks,
because it's kind of a mixture of... No, I'm not even going to go there. Okay. I'm going to leave that alone.
You've got a picture of it, Mary Jane. You can just
I'm leaving... Yeah. Yeah, that would be... Yeah, I'm going to leave all of that alone. All of that I'm leaving alone. Okay, we went over Quebec. So, you know why Alliance is different, right? The whole thing is we want to get the word out there. Alliance is different. How? While we're selling services to the growers, and it's a unique service that is not available anywhere else. And even if it is, it's on a lower scale, and they don't have the technology we have. So we have tons of advantages. We're not just going to sell you plantlets. We're going to help you grow a better plant faster, better, stronger, make you more money. So I guess our competitive advantage there is exactly what I just said. Our competitive advantage in Quebec is we're, low-cost jurisdiction, support by the government, we've got the best growers in the country, all that stuff. And so that explains that. And the CBD dana, regardless of whether we actually grow the plants and sell plantlets of CBD dana or we take it to the end and we actually make the oil, either way, we have another significant advantage. What is it? We start with quality product, disease-free, genetically perfect, female only, and we've also got a proprietary strain that gives you 10 to 14% rather than just the 1 or 2% that's typical out there. So that is the long and short of it on that. Now, are you guys interested in what Alliance might be doing to create awareness or to make people, kind of pay more attention to the company and see how we're different?
What is your marketing? What is your marketing strategy?
Well, the marketing strategy, what we're trying to appeal to for the most part is we're trying to appeal to those in the investing community that are actually more interested in medical cannabis stocks rather than, anybody who's like anything, recreational, we'll do this and to let people know our strategy is to try to educate the investing public on what it is that we do and why we're different. And so that's why the question at the beginning, difference between tissue culture and cloning, because you would be surprised how many people do not know the difference. And some they're like, I don't see the difference. Even after you explain it, they're like, wow, whatever. But it is quite significant. And so a lot of our marketing strategy is to educate people on what we're doing. In fact, right now we have a commercial that's running as I'm gonna do some plugs for some of our strategic partners, if that's okay. So we have a company, Frontier Consulting, out of Toronto, out of Ontario. I'm not gonna say Toronto because who knows? You could be anywhere in Toronto. That's a big place. Ontario is a big place. So Toronto is very limited compared to Mississauga and all the rest. Anyway, so my point is there's a company called Frontier Consulting that we're working with out of there, and they do a lot of financial marketing for us. They set up a lot of road shows and so forth, and they also have a lot of partners. So they're partners that service providers that get you into various different media and different ways to, for investor awareness and people to be find out about the company. So we've been working with them. We've also we have analyst coverage from Fundamental Research. Fundamental Research is here out of Vancouver, and we're quite happy with our analysts. What they do is they do independent coverage, and we have another report coming out. That's why I bring that up. So they've done 2 research reports on the company already, and it's all independent. Like, I can send them all the numbers and everything I want. It doesn't matter. They're not going to use them. So what they're going to do is they're going to do their own analysis. So they're independent, which is good because it gives especially the more institutional or, say, broker community a lot more comfort because they can see an independent report. So that's another thing we're doing is we're trying to get out there with the independent analyst coverage. And in addition to that, we're also involved in a institutional outreach program where this organization, which is connected to but separated from FRC, Fundamental Research Corp, because they have to be independent. And they go out and they put us in front of various brokers, institutions, and so forth. So we're pretty happy with what they've been doing. We're pretty happy with Frontier. In addition to that, of course, we've got Nelson Hughes has been very good in hooking us up with various different media outlets such as this, which, of course, these are not paid for things. So I think that, to me, has a lot more value. Not a lot more, I should take that back. But it's just that it has a lot of value in the fact that, we didn't pay to have this interview, and you guys are just, we're here to ask questions, answer questions.
Well, yeah, and, that's exactly why we're here, because, I try and do this as if we're all sitting in our living room. We're all sitting in I'm not at home, but
I love the format. Love it.
And there's so many questions that need to be answered on so many different levels. Like that, it's endless. Yes. The conversations are endless, I think.
That's why I hope we can do it again, and maybe we can even make it more focused, because this is an overview. But if you want to say, hey, Dennis, I got people that want to know about tissue culture, so we're going to focus on that.
There you go.
But
So
if that's for 2 hours, I'm going to have to tell jokes in between.
If anybody listening has a specific subject that Dennis is, able to talk about, just let us know, and we'll have Dennis back to talk about that.
Oh yeah, and let me add this. So Peter Wojcik, he is okay. You know how you said you're the engineer or something, and then and then so your counterpart there, he's the more technical geek guy. Well, if we were to get if the listeners would like a show where we have Peter Wojcik giving you all sorts of detail, and you want to really drill down.
You know what? I cut you off
Peter
there.
Peter will be there.
You have Peter contact Mary Jane, and Mary Jane will book him. I'm saying the two of us together, me and Peter, because that's how we did all of our That's what I was saying.
road shows.
You guys set up a date where you'd like to come back with Peter, and we'll do it. This is a weekly show, man, and
okay, that's excellent.
There's I don't think that I've heard a show that we had to stop short other than from boredom. Because there's always stuff to talk about, but quite frankly, and I'm not insulting anybody, some conversations go longer than others.
Oh yeah, and they can be boring. One thing about Peter, he's just so into this that I have to slow him down a little bit. And Peter, if you're listening, I love you, man. Okay, so anyway,
I love you, man.
I gotta give him a good fatty.
Because he gets into so much detail with the brokers, they're like falling asleep. So I'm like, okay, just let's peel that back a little bit. But, if sometimes you got to have a little bit of technical stuff on the show. And I mean, I come from a technical background.
Yep.
Technically.
Well, like I said,
and whatnot, but.
You Mary Jane will get in touch with you. And I think we've got next week we have somebody, but I can't remember who. Mary Jane.
Is that the ADHD? I think that's part of the ADHD.
I haven't confirmed anybody yet. So.
Okay, so
how about this?
But the following week
Al,
we have
why don't
somebody.
you tell us the protocol for ADHD?
The protocol for ADHD.
Better than.
I'm very careful
we talked about that before the show.
I'm very careful with the strains that I choose, but I will.
Right.
If somebody goes here, try this, I will. But I also know how to.
And then it's LSD, and then he goes, "Damn, that's not what I wanted."
No.
Sorry, go ahead.
I've gotten pretty proficient at countering it with if I get too much of an up from something, I'll counter it with something else, and then I usually have a CBD pen with me as well, so that kind of throws it into the balance.
That's good. Yeah, that's just in case nothing else is working. I got that. So well, that's good. If you can move away from the like the pharmaceuticals, that's always good. So. What I was hoping we could discuss is also so how much time do we have left? Do we have a half an hour or no?
Yeah, sure.
I don't.
Oh, they don't. But you know what? If you want, Mary Jane has to go too.
Possible? Yeah. Is it possible? Can we take a break?
We can take a break.
A little bit of music.
We can take a break.
When we take a break, and then I'm going to cut. We'll be back.
No, I probably won't come back after the break.
Okay.
So I'll say
if this is Marcel's not coming back.
Okay, so Marcel's not coming back.
You and I should communicate after, we should communicate because it sounds like we have
communicate quick. We'll communicate quickly when we go to break.
There you go.
Okay.
I'll put on a song that's 3 minutes and 22 seconds, and it's by Fortunate Youth, and it's called Burn One. This is the first legalized 420 radio show in Canada. We'll be right back.
Awesome. Hey, but that's like 3 minutes. A break's a little longer, isn't it?
Yeah, we can do 2 songs. We'll be back in 6 minutes or so.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Okay,
hey, this is Cheech. Okay. This is Chong. And you're listening to Lifestyle Radio. What is it? Lifestyle Radio. Say it one more time. 420 Radio? Ooh.
Hang up and try again.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
you ignore me all the time. I need some seeds, man, so them can grow tall. And not the sense release of my mind. So tell me why this pass by. Put on this herb just like man. This herbal medicine, natural remedies, creating our roots, a sprout these melodies. Roll one up, say.
Just over one down, so pass it around, yeah, pass it around, yeah, banana, don't let the ash hit the ground, yes, we gonna roll one up, say, just over one down, so pass it around, yeah, pass it around, yeah, banana, don't let the ash hit the ground, yeah.
Are you looking for cannabis news, education, and people's opinions? Are you looking to learn what Canadian and international cannabis advocates are doing, not only now, but what got them to this point in their lives, and what does the future hold for them? Do you want to learn how patients are using cannabis as their daily medication, or learn how their cannabis use helps them with their medical condition? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then I'm going to suggest to you to tune in to Lifestyle Radio. Catch their live weekly shows and have your questions and concerns answered and find the experience you're looking for. Monday, catch your weekly news broadcast with the Reef Reporters. Then on Wednesday, get several hours worth of cannabis public education. We get things started with Cannabis and Coffee with Tamarawana. Then tune in and catch Pottawa with Russell Barth, who calls himself the world's angriest pothead. Finish up your evening with the award-winning Pace Radio Show with Al Graham and joint host Kim Cooper and Alicia Yashishin. No week would be complete without tuning into Friday night's program, the 420 Radio Show featuring Al Rapp and the 420 Radio crew, Mary Jane Baker and Marcel Gignac. Cannabis is a lifestyle, and you can catch all your cannabis lifestyle information right here at lifestyleradio.net or at our sister site, 420radio.ca.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
To the west coast, back eastward. Weed stash in a tea urn, but to roll up another leaf burn. It's a reefer nation. I'll blaze to relieve frustration. Yeah, and increase my patience while I'm waiting on legalization. This indica, this a T-bug. Got me blessed like Mother Teresa. Forget my woes like amnesia when the THC start to creep up. I'm high all night like a star, bud. They say it's a gateway drug, but shit, I don't do no hard drugs. I don't plan to start up, but I light up in my studio. This job is so cushy. I've been doing this for decades. I don't smoke with no rookies. I've been puffing on the purple, yeah, the kush is so OG. I've been whipping up some girls' skull cookies like, oh, goody. I puff recreational, you puff on the medical. Feeling so incredible, someone break out the edibles. Cause prohibition is almost at that commission. I'll be smoking anyway, not like it really makes a difference. When I'm chilling with my people, then I'm smoking marijuana. Don't consider me a hippie when I'm smoking marijuana. I've been having trouble sleeping, so I'm smoking marijuana. Smoking marijuana. But you don't like mine. Smoking marijuana. How come? You don't like mine. Smoking marijuana. You don't like mine. Smoking marijuana. Smoking marijuana. Yeah. Look, this ain't that, oh, I love weed so much, let me brag about it. Actually, that's exactly what this is. It's so good, let me brag about it. Won't go a full day without it. No, there ain't no way around it. Dad used to complain about it. I can't get through his back pain without it. And I can list all the different ways that it brings relief. It treats disease, glaucoma, PTSD, cancer, and epilepsy. But you know that, yeah, you know that. Even trees need love. That's why I always let my girl get with my BC buds. These moon rocks, got me feeling like Snoop Dogg. Only need to take a few hauls to get lifted it up like a boot job, so blaze one for the nation. I've been doing so since day one. I handle my business, raising my kids, and still they wanna go hate on. Yeah, I got kids, and when they're not around, I'll probably go and roll something. Don't judge me, you got kids, and every night you crack a beer right in front of them. I don't need your opinion. Either way, I don't pay you attention. Light it up all day, every day. Yup, prohibition don't make no difference. When I'm chilling with my people, then I'm smoking marijuana. Don't consider me a hippie when I'm smoking marijuana. I've been having trouble sleeping, so I'm smoking marijuana. I'm smoking marijuana. We consider illegal. But you don't like mine. Smoking marijuana. How come? You don't like mine. Smoking marijuana. You don't like mine. Smoking marijuana. Smoking marijuana. We consider illegal. Yeah. Feeling just right, rolling up some of that Edison Reserve. Oh, Canada. Things have changed, huh?
Really like to. Okay.
All right.
So what I think is important is when some people are not familiar with a lot of the technical stuff or the biotech stuff of cannabis.
Yep.
I like to be able to find a way to get through to them in the sense of, you know, what can I do to explain things better? Because in order for us to get the message across from tissue culture and so forth, we need to be able to reach a wider audience. And if somebody just looks at our signs of tissue culture, I don't know, and then they're gone, that doesn't help.
Hey, if you can talk to me in layman terms and let me understand, you got about 7.5 minutes worth of attention. I have ADHD. Go for it.
There you go. and I want your ADHD formula. Okay, if you talk just so when we talked about tissue culture versus cloning, was that clear to you, or was there any questions?
Yeah, I understand both of those. Yep.
Okay, so that's okay. And then, so what really, there's not a lot of technical discussion after that, except if you want to start to get into CBD protocols and how to grow plants with the tissue culture and all the rest of that. So let's try to think of the fun side of the business that we can talk about.
Okay.
Anybody?
Let's have some fun. The fun side is I'm really big into knowing what I'm smoking, and I'm trying to learn, the different smells. It's like, oh yeah, I know that one, and the different tastes and stuff like that.
And isn't that interesting about what you just said, the different smells? Because those smells are the terpenes. And the interesting thing that I found out as I got to actually, pay more attention to the technical side of it, is that when they do CBD products or CBD distillate being different than crystallate, of course.
They add terpenes.
Distillate being like the liquid thing, but it's, if it's clear like honey, it's a lot a higher quality process or whatever.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is the terpenes are lost in the extraction process.
But
and
they do add
them.
Yeah, they re-add them, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
so they can really add anything they want, any flavors and any odor, any smell that they want, which is really cool, especially when you get into flavoring for edibles and stuff like that.
Yeah, but here's the interesting thing, and when I first started to learn about this, because I don't want to give the impression like I'm the be-all, end-all expert. But it was interesting because the fact that they had to add the terpenes back in, I thought, well, that's interesting because some people don't like the smell. But then, of course, you do more research, talk to other people, et cetera, is the terpenes actually have their own medicinal benefits, the terpenes themselves, by you inhaling them. They already have their own benefits. So it's not just adding terpenes back just because of the, some people like that pot smell and they put on a headband and braid their hair and stuff like that.
Each terpene has its own profile and it has its own use.
Yeah, see, there you go. So you know more than you're letting on.
I know more than I'm letting on, yeah.
I figured so. So then we've got the sativa, indica discussion, and it goes on and on from there. So what do you think about this lately? Let's talk about just kind of what I'll do is I'll close with hammering home my main points. But right now it's like, so what is your take on what happened this week what did you expect to happen? And I don't mean to make this an interview about you because I'm going to give you my own perspective.
Okay.
What did you expect to happen in the market, the capital markets, when they announced this? What did you expect to happen?
Well, first, I wasn't. I've been watching the roller coaster ride that is the stock market at the moment. That I have been watching.
Right.
I'm not pleased about that. What I was expecting as far as a people thing goes on the day, on Wednesday, was more people out enjoying the fact that in Canada you can walk down the street. Well, in Ontario, anyways, you can walk down the street with a joint in your mouth. And I did just that. I've been doing it since my teens in Toronto, and now I'm doing it here in Hamilton and Toronto.
But you said you were expecting that, but didn't that happen?
There wasn't as many people out as I thought there was going to be. There were a lot of closures.
Al, remember, you have to remember that in Ontario, nobody could legally get their hands on any cannabis.
Yes, and
I was see that until at least today.
That's right.
But I got to tell you, a different story for Alberta and like various places like Calgary, where my son lives. A different story there, and also in BC, because like, well, of course, in Vancouver, let's just say, I mean, geez, if you've been here once, you'll know that they thought it was legal for 10 years already. So anyway, so here it was quite.
It for me, it's been legal for 10 years. Medical,
forever.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. But you know, but on the market side, what would one expect? On one side, one would say, well, you know what? Maybe now that it's legal, the investors, the ones that were coming in blind before, were also going to come in again and just say, oh, I'm going to throw some money at some of these. But it didn't happen that way, and I actually kind of suspected that it wouldn't. Why? Because we already did the correction in January, and everybody, and they passed all the various legislation and so forth. Investors are now sitting back, and this is why I bring this up, because obviously for Alliance, what I'm looking for is to raise money for the company.
Just so you know, Dennis, I'm staring at the stocks right now. Okay, I mean, Tweed has gone down.
They're red.
Yeah, but all the Tweed dropped. Almost
all of them.
$3.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Alfira.
Everybody. Yes.
Yeah. Everybody.
Look, it's red. The screen I'm looking at is totally red today, and it's because and a lot of people that didn't call this, like I can't mention anybody's name, but someone I know actually was elected to kind of not short in the sense of short, but that's what she felt was needed, and she was bang on, and a lot of people thought it was going to go the other way.
I stayed on with what I had because I've been watching it up and down, up and down, up and down, and then everybody says, pull out in October, and it's like, you know what? No, because what I've been seeing over the last 6 months is a gradual up. I mean, it was at 74.
Right.
Canopy was at 74 at one point, and the others are hovering around the same 19, 12,
well,
things
look at
like
Canopy
that.
is what, 61? Well,
right now it is. Right now it is. Yeah, but it was up. It was up to 74, I think, on Monday or Tuesday.
Afria's 8. I know Monday, Tuesday, everybody was up. Even our stock, and we have nothing.
But now here's the crash, and this is the crash, and I was waiting for that. And now we're going to see.
Well, I don't think this is a crash per se.
Let's use the hip as an example. From what I'm seeing, a layman, I know nothing about the stock market. Okay, but what I do know is the hip haven't got a crop off yet. And they're just kind of stagnant. They're just kind of going up and down and up and down.
What did you say?
Little bursts. The hip.
Did you say hip?
The hip. Yeah, the Tragically Hips
what is
label, right? They've got it. They've got an.
Is this a public company?
New Strike.
It's a public company called
New Strike.
Hip? No.
The New Strike.
New Strike.
Yeah. And they are trading, and it's the hip brand of cannabis, the hip cannabis brand. And they are trading on it, and they have little blips and stuff like that.
You have to make a profit?
My point is, no, they haven't even. They're kind of just getting their wind going. They haven't even had a full crop off yet. Nobody knows what they're going to do. If they have a really good crop, their stocks are going to go up. If they have a bad,
what do you call them? What is it called?
News strike, I believe, is what it's called. If you Google the
strike,
tragically hip cannabis brand, it'll tell you.
Oh, okay, I got
it's
it.
trading on the stock as new stock. Let me look and see if I've got the.
Okay, so when did they go public?
HIP HIP.V is the
HIP. Oh, okay. So it's a TSX venture.
Yep. And I don't believe they've even had a stock off yet. So, we don't know what they're going to do. I've heard people complain they're not doing nothing. They're not doing nothing. But they're just getting going. And there's all these startup
New Strike brands.
There you go. All these new businesses are coming up, and it's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to take a little bit of time.
Of course.
Right.
But the thing is also just because somebody can go public, because they're 23 cents right now.
I just
something
shut it
like
off.
that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But anyways, the thing is if they are they an ACMPR only, or do they also have products?
You see that I believe they're I don't know the right word. Marcel would know the right word.
Well, no, ACMPR being that you have a grower's license under Health Canada.
No, I believe that they are a full
Okay, well, we'll ask Marcel.
LP.
We don't want to put you in the bad spot, but you made a very good point, and it's true. A lot of people were telling you, say, you should sell in October, and they're exactly right, because, and my feelings were mixed, and I was kind of neutral. I thought, I don't know how this is going to go, because it's almost like you got to look at other things, like what's going on in the economy, and interest rates and this and that.
I'm willing to wait.
It's not a big rush. It's not a big rush.
No, there's no rush. There's no rush.
No, and I mean, in these companies, interestingly enough, I don't know why, but they're down today of all days, because but I mean, we've got.
They were up on Tuesday.
6%, big deal. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So,
and then you got weed that's down 4%. Like, it's not huge. It's not like big things, It's like
it's still early.
It's
still early.
Yeah, and it's because investors are more cautious. We saw that in the crash that happened. That's a crash. The January thing was a crash. This is not a crash. This is just a
blip.
A caution flag.
Yeah, a blip.
Yeah, a little blip. I call it a caution flag.
Yeah.
Because what they're doing is the investors, the market, what they're doing now is they're a little more sophisticated. They're a little more educated in what's going on. They now are just not blindly investing in cannabis stocks, hoping something's going to stay.
They're going to, well.
They really are holding everybody's feet to the fire. They're going to say, show me. You're doing this? Well, show me. Show me you can do it, and show me.
2 major LPs this month have had bad crops and had to destroy full crops.
Now, guess what?
Okay.
What if they started with tissue culture plantlets?
Well, there you go. There you goes your pitch. Do your pitch. We've got 15 minutes left.
There you go. Okay, so there's a perfect example of where they can at least mitigate the risk of a bad crop, probably by 50% of the risk,
by removing the risk.
Starting off with a good product. Now,
by removing the risk.
Yeah, obviously, if they're good. They can remove 50% of the risk or more, maybe up to 75%, if they were to start with disease-free, genetically perfect plantlets. And also in addition to that, you've also got the advice of some professionals within our organization who can give them a grow schedule that will help enhance the quality and the speed of getting the product to full growth. And now the only thing they have to do is make sure that they don't have a contaminated space. But that's why the whole thing about tissue culture, because you're in the mother room, maybe these 3 mothers are fine, but then those 2 have got something, and then there's airborne whatever. Well, guess what? There's no mother room. There's no airborne whatever. When you do the tissue culture, you give us your strain, and we'll make sure that thing's going to be disease-free. because it's been created in a clean environment.
Let me ask you a question. If they're disease-free, what happens if they go into a room and something does get in there? Are they stronger plants that are going to get over that, or is there going to be another virus that comes along? Because we all know viruses adapt themselves to different environments, right?
Exactly. No, you're right. They do. But the thing is, we can't. Okay, they're a stronger plant in the sense that they're exactly the strain that they started out with. There hasn't been any degradation because of the cloning and whatnot. And so I guess by that, they are possibly a stronger plant. And the fact that they started out disease-free and they didn't even have any sort of inkling of anything, that could also make them stronger. Whereas you may have some of these strains and some of these clones that they have they're exposed a little bit, but they can fight it off, so it's not a big deal. But these ones will be tested, and you'll know exactly what you're starting with, and it'll be disease-free 100%. And so then that, at least you know that, oh, okay, so I did have a problem, but it's not my starts. It's not my mother, it's not my starts. That was going well, but it's something else. And so it can actually help them troubleshoot whatever else they're doing. But at the end of the day, it's always a better way to start, and they can free up their mother room, which can just create all sorts of problems. So they can get rid of the mother room, have more grow space, start off with perfect disease-free plantlets, and at least eliminate that 50% or more of the risk of losing a crop. And that was a big thing that when I was watching CNN and all the analysts got on there. It's all about being a low-cost producer and mitigating your risks. And if you're a bigger company, you can afford more, large crops. But if you're smaller, you can't. Yeah. And so that's why tissue culture, again, is going to be the savior of the day. And I would love to see Health Canada make it a standard, because that would be the best.
Do you,
because then,
in order for you guys to do this stuff, you have to be approved by Health Canada, yes?
Yes. Well, yeah, it's kind of, yes. But there's kind of different licenses.
Yes, that's what I was getting at.
But you're right. You're right.
So you've got a genetics license, basically, right?
So, well, here's the thing: is the license. Okay, the genetics and that, all the testing and stuff's been done, but to get the actual license to actually be able to procure these inside the lab, that's case. So Pharma Green. So again, let me explain everything to the audience so they know. So Pharma Green is the company that has the technology. They own the land. They're building the building. We are buying 30% of that. So we are going to have a 30% interest in the equity assets, however you want to put that, as well as the revenue stream at 30%. And Pharma Green have been working on developing these tissue culture, the technology over the years, and Pharma Green has applied for the licenses necessary to carry this out on the property. So obviously it's going to take some time because you need to get the building going and all the rest of that before Health Canada can give you approval. So the approvals are going to happen, a few months from now, several months from now.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to make it clear that Alliance Growers, the public company, because we're buying 30%, we will not be applying for the licenses. So you won't go to the Health Canada website and see our name there, but you will see Pharma Green. And just to make sure that relationship is clear. So, but what we have done is we've applied for our own licenses with Health Canada out of Quebec. And that one you'll see Biotech on the Health Canada site if you want. Actually, a little bit of a side thing quickly before, I guess we got a few more minutes, is the interesting thing that's come out over the last little while is once a company has a license, when you've got an LP license approved by Health Canada in Quebec, for example, or not Quebec, but Quebec, I was going to say not Montreal. When you've got that license in Quebec, we are not limited to just expanding in Quebec. We can actually take that license and set something up in BC, and the process to get the license is going to be like 4 months because we've already gone through everything. So now all we got to do is prove that the facility's up to snuff and we know how to grow, and that's it. So, sorry?
No, I was just talking to Paula. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, so what I'm trying to say is, so the importance of tissue culture of plantlets is obvious, right? And how the LPs can benefit, how even, recreational growers can benefit, but mostly, of course, a larger audience. That's one. Two, Quebec. Why is Quebec significant? Because of the reasons we already discussed. And so because we have a 99.9% chance of success in Quebec, then that means we are also opening ourselves up to have additional licenses in other provinces without the 2-year wait or 1 year or whatever. Even under the accelerated program, we would blow past that because we already have a license. That's the advantage there. And the advantage of the Dana strain, the hemp, is it's once things get resolved with CBD and whatnot, it's a worldwide product that we can ship anywhere that doesn't have anything against CBD, instead of having to wait for everybody to be legal because of the less than 0.3%. So we have 3 revenue centers that are very realistic and attainable in the time frames that we've set out. Anyway, back to this discussion. So interestingly enough, so the whole market, they're red. Like I'm tracking 10, 12 different stocks, and they're all red. Because it's just because legalization is in place, we believe that investors are looking for companies that are real. So bringing that back to Alliance has actually got real technology. It's proprietary. It's unique. This is how we stand out. We've got a product that the LPs are definitely going to need to have, want to have, need to have, and our revenue projections from our projects are very realistic and attainable, and that's what investors are looking for now. I've seen CNN the other day, analysts were basically saying the same thing, is the reason that cannabis stocks aren't popping like they have done in the past is because investors are a lot more educated, and they're waiting, and they want to see who is actually going to pull it off.
And
even
they're
the
going
big
to pounce. They're going to pounce.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So now that's why this radio show, I really appreciate it. I want to get the word out, and I would love to see if we can get, actually within a week rather than 2 weeks, and I'll talk to your people about that, is to get Peter Wojcik on the show, and we do a little bit more of a focus on some of the biotech aspects of the company.
Absolutely.
So that the audience can get a feel for how we're different, why we're different, and how we're going to dominate this space in the field that we're in. I mean, we're talking a world-class, it's the state-of-the-art facility to do tissue culture with a proprietary system rather than the old system. Not to say anything's wrong with the old system, in case I don't want to get any calls about that. Okay, but that's just a joke. Anybody listening? No. Okay,
I'll let you know.
That's, I guess... Yeah, that's basically all I wanted to say for now. I mean, I have lots we can talk about.
Well, what I'd like you to do, if you don't mind, if you could please tell people where they can find you in your company so that they can look up information on their own as well.
Okay, I'll do that. So anybody who's out there looking for the company, if you want to see our filings and so forth, which a lot of people do, there's 2 places to go. You can go to the CSE website because we're listed on the CSE, and it's just type in Google, go CSE space Alliance, boom, you'll get us. If you want to see other disclosure, and I like to bring the disclosure up before the promotion because I want people to see that we are a compliant organization and we're following the rules and we're doing things properly. So I'd like to talk about that first. So the second place is CDAR, Alliance Growers. It's going to be easy to find. And also, of course, we have our website, which is also being revamped, by the way. It's alliancegrowers.com. And besides that, there are a bunch of organizations we're working with. We're working with Investing News Network, INN, Investing News Network. You can find us there. We're also featured on a couple of other different places, but some of them are not necessarily accessible in the same sense. We've got research reports over at Fundamental Research. You might want to check there. You can just type in Fundamental Research in Google and you'll get that. And that's kind of how you're going to find us.
Awesome. And
we welcome any... Yeah, go ahead.
I'm looking forward to hearing more in depth with the two of you talking and with Marcel and that. And that'll be a real interesting.
Yeah, I was just going to say, let's make sure we got Marcel there.
Oh, yes, he's always here.
Then he can ask all the nerdy questions.
That's right. I enjoy watching documentaries, so I sit back, and I also do a show with Dr. Ira Price here in Hamilton on Wednesdays afternoon, and I'm in awe that I'm sitting there listening to this dude who goes out and lectures to other doctors in Ontario to try and teach them about cannabis. And I'm sitting here.
That is phenomenal. When
I'm
is
sitting
that on?
here. That's on
when
Wednesdays at 3 p.m. On
that I would like to see that because that's what we need. We need more of that.
Well, that's the thing. I have access to a real emergency room doctor who has a clinic that he will help you with your cannabis needs if you're an actual patient. He's a real doctor.
Yeah.
You don't just go and he'll sign away. You have to go and have a...
And they have to prove your case, exactly. You know what? This is what we need more of. And not only that, but I'm quite astonished, and this is a whole other discussion, which we'll do another time, is the lack of formal research. Like, I can't understand why that would be the case. I mean, obviously we see that Tilray did something with the U.S. and they're doing research, et cetera. Oh, by the way, I got other stories to tell you about cannabis use, but
I will save those for next time.
With opioid addiction and so forth. So we've got a next show all worked out.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, well that's great. Thanks. And also everybody, alliancegrowers.com. You can look at the company, and if anybody has any questions or interested in the private placement we have going on, or you want further information about what we're doing, or even if you have a medical cancer kind of related issue and you would like to ask Peter, he'd be happy to answer that for you
I'll be sure to have questions for that one.
Okay, because Peter, if somebody has some serious issue and they need to deal with, Peter's very good like that. He doesn't charge anything for that. He gives you his advice and so forth. So we're open to that stuff.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. So thank you very much.
That's all I have for now.
And this is the 420 radio show. We are here at Gunjanistas in Hamilton, and we'll say goodnight. Mary Jane.
Yeah, okay. Good night.
She's gone.
Mary Jane.
Yeah, I'm still
she's doing her. Did you do your edibles and you're gone, or what?
Can you guys not?
Mary Jane says she likes to do the peanut butter.
She's doing her nails.
Okay, Mary Jane, we can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, Mary Jane. Let's. Mary Jane, I'll be in touch with you.
Okay. So I just want to let you know, Dennis, if you would like to catch up on any of our previous shows, just go to the website www.420radio.ca, and you can click on all of our shows. They're all archived there, and there's some pretty good stuff there.
That's good.
But
great.
We will be in touch. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that, because I did want to look at that. And then, we'll be in touch, because I think if Peter and I were on the show with Marcel, we could really blow some minds with that.
Cool. We'll be in touch, Dennis. Thank you very much.
Don't do that. Okay, thanks very much. Have a good night, you guys. Have a good weekend.
Good night, Mary Jane.
Okay. Good night, Mary Ellen. Good night, John Boy. Okay, talk to you.
Good night.
Next week.
So what are you doing? Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.